There are several theories. It's possible that he wasn't buried in the pyramid, or that the pyramid was robbed of its contents.
The only things makes you do is you think and you think and you keep thinking and looking. So of course you feel how this civilization was really advanced all these thousands years ago.
Picture the Pyramids of Giza, standing tall for more than 4,000 years and built from millions of massive limestone blocks, some of them bigger than a car. Well, here's the thing. For centuries, no one has known exactly how they were built. Many experts have tried to solve the mystery, and some people have even offered the conspiracy theory that aliens were involved. Now scientists believe they may have cracked the mystery once and for all, and spoiler alert, there are no extraterrestrials in their answer. In this episode, we're going to explain what researchers have found, and we'll also explain what we still don't know about the pyramids. Plus, we'll also hear how important the pyramids are for Egypt's economy and its tourism sector. I'm William Lee Adams, and this is What in the World from the BBC World Service. Rehab Ismail is a BBC reporter in Cairo. Rehab, hello.
Hi, hello, how are you?
So good. I want to start with what may seem like an obvious question. Have you ever visited the pyramids at Giza?
Yes, for sure. It's essential for any Egyptian to visit the pyramids. So I have went several times with my friends, with my family, and as a reporter as well. But actually, every time it's like the first time, and it's always astonishing and very emotional when you see this great monument in Egypt.
And those of us abroad, we've seen photos, but what is it like when you're actually approaching them?
Actually, you can see the pyramids from different locations in Cairo because they are very, very huge. I just want you to imagine three huge triangular shapes structures, and they are perfectly aligned. They actually house the pyramids of the 4th dynasty kings, according to sources from the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities in Egypt, and of course alongside with the iconic Great Sphinx. Everyone, when they move around, when they see these huge structures, they feel that, oh my God, how these people this long years ago, thousands of years ago, managed to build this, why they did that, and how, and it's really astonishing. So the only things makes you do is you think and you think and you keep thinking and looking. So of course you feel how this civilization was really advanced all these thousands years ago.
And we've talked about the exterior. What about inside? Are people allowed to go in?
So yes, of course, you can go inside them. The Great Pyramid has a narrow passage leading to the King's Chamber, and it's an incredible experience where they can see the Grand Valley, they can see the Tomb of Khufu. So yeah, it's really, really great experience.
And Rehab, you've been looking at research conducted by the University of North Carolina. What insights do they offer about how these pyramids were built?
Yeah, actually, they suggest that there is like a nearby waterway that was used to transport materials like stone blocks needed to build the pyramids on the river. And actually, this could be like an idea has been discussed by other archaeologists before, but they suggest that there wasn't certainty about the location, the shape, and the size of proximity of this mega waterway to the actual pyramid's side. But also, let me refer to a controversy that has happened in Egypt once this research was published, and it was mainly led by the Egyptian archaeologist Zahi Hawass. And I'm quoting him. He said that Egyptologists have suggested for more than a century that a Western Nile branch or canal gave access to the pyramids. And he also discusses that even if they managed to, or they tried to shed light on how the stones were transferred to the pyramids through this waterway, but they might not put or have new input about how these huge stones were put together and managed to create this great and massive structure of the pyramids.
I want to find out a bit more about the mysteries of the pyramids and what mysteries may no longer be mysteries. So let's bring in Yossra Ibrahim. She is an Egyptologist, also in Cairo. Yossra, hi.
Hi, Will. How are you?
So good. Thank you for joining us. So please tell us, what three things about the pyramids do we now know for certain?
We know that the pyramid is supposed to mimic the primeval mound of creation and also the sun rays. The fine limestone, which was very white and bright, reflected these solar rays. So they evoked the concept of the sun god shining every day and giving rebirth to the king. The pyramid was also the final resting place. It was a cosmic machine or a resurrection machine. And this is why we have one of the shafts extending from the burial chamber and directly pointed towards the circumpolar constellations in the northern sky. These circumpolar constellations we now know as the Great Bear or Big Dipper. And during the Pyramid Age, they were perceived as eternal, and it is where the king wished to join to become immortal. And an important fact about the pyramids is that we know that they were not constructed by slaves, and they were also not built by any mythical nation that got extinct. They were actually constructed by the Egyptians, the busy laborers, craftsmen, and highly skilled workers.
And for quite some time, we've been talking about mysteries, the unknown. How were these pyramids built? Could you tell us what mysteries still exist and how has recent research addressed those mysteries?
One of the mysteries we are still trying to figure out is about the exact construction of the pyramid. We don't have any guidebooks or any manuals on how to build a pyramid. So we are trying to gather together some human remains, fragments of tools, and papyri. Most importantly is the recently discovered papyri along the Red Sea, which gives us a logbook or an Excel sheet monitoring the laborers and the times and dates of the ships sailing back and forth between Giza and Tura, supplying limestone for the construction of the pyramid, as well as food delivered from Heliopolis to Giza. One of the things that remains a mystery is where is the king's mummy? We don't know where is the mummy. So we have a huge sarcophagus inside the burial chamber, but we don't have any remains for Khufu. There are several theories. It's possible that he wasn't buried in the pyramid, or that the pyramid was robbed of its contents, including the mummy, shortly after the burial of the king. And also another theory is that the mummy was robbed afterwards, either in antiquity or by travelers afterwards.
Yossra, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me today. It's my pleasure.
The pyramids, of course, aren't just about history. They remain a huge symbol of Egypt. How important are they for the country's tourism sector and its broader economy?
Of course, it's like Egypt's crown jewels of tourism. And let's say, according to the Chamber of Tourism in 2024, around 15 million tourists visit Egypt. And as I said, the pyramids is usually on the top list of the places that tourists hope and love to go and see. Of course, it's very important to Egypt's economy to attract tourists, to create jobs in hospitality, in preserving, in all the aspects that are related to hosting the tourists and guiding them through visiting the pyramids.
Tourism, of course, brings in dollars, but it also brings in damage. How is the government working to preserve and protect the pyramids?
Of course, like sites like the pyramids, there are laws that make sure to protect these places, and there are like agreements or cooperations with UNESCO, for example, to make sure that these places are not exposed to any harm by tourists or anyone. Guards everywhere try to guide the tourists or kindly asking them to not to touch the pyramids pyramids or try not to put any harm to the pyramids. But let me tell you that there are efforts, of course, to preserve them. And there is a project, the Giza Plateau Development Plan. It like aims to divide the area into 3 zones. A core archaeological zone where it contains all the monuments and all the sites, the potential big areas, and like a transitional zone. It could regulate where the tourists could be, and it might regulate the numbers to make sure that everyone enjoys or have a proper experience inside the firm.
Rehab, thank you so much for explaining that.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's all for today. Thanks for watching another episode of What in the World from the BBC World Service. If you enjoyed this, please do give us a like and scribble your comments down below. And why not join the more than 1 million people who already subscribe to the BBC World Service YouTube channel? We'll see you later. Bye.